Hi everyone, welcome to the Management Explainer. This video is about what you should know about assets and liabilities. Assets and liabilities have found their way into everyday language. In action movies, soldiers, secret agents, and assassins are often called assets. Lots of digital files are also called assets. So then, assets appear to be things and people that are vaguely useful. The sort of reverse thing applies to liabilities. When you think that someone or something is particularly useless, that person or thing is a liability. But, and there's always a but, assets and liabilities do have specific meanings in the business world that you really should know if you have anything to do with management. So put on your pocket protectors and let's talk about assets and liabilities. Many people think that the concepts of assets and liabilities belong together in some way. I guess most people would see them as opposites. An asset is defined as probable future economic benefits obtained or controlled by a particular entity as a result of past transactions or events. So let's quickly unpack this definition. First, an asset is about probable, not certain, economic benefits in the future. This means there will probably be some future gain for the owner. The owner is referred to as an entity, simply reflecting the fact that the owner doesn't have to be a real individual, but can also be an organization which counts as a person in some circumstances. Finally, the asset has been obtained or is controlled as a result of past transactions or events, which limits assets to things that can actually be owned, such as pieces of equipment, not other things like the sky, for example. To make things more complicated, accountants and managers distinguish between many different kinds of assets. This is not just done to put normal people to sleep, but it's actually quite important for how different things are handled and the way the business records what it does. Here are some important kinds of assets. I promise I'll be quick with this. Current assets are generally all objects of value that can be disposed of easily in return for cash. They include cash equivalents, raw materials, consumables, and stock. Fixed assets are assets that are more difficult to convert into cash, such as equipment and buildings. Intangible assets are, as the name suggests, non-physical objects that can be used to meet the commitments, debts, or obligations of the business. Okay, now that we've talked about assets, let's talk about liabilities next. Here's a useful managerial definition of liabilities. A liability is an obligation of a business or person arising from a past event that is expected to result in the transfer of tangible or intangible assets, a provision of services, or another benefit in the future. So like before, liabilities are about obligations to do something in the future. Again, the obligation may be of a business or a person, and this will relate to the transfer of something, such as an asset or something else. Here are two important forms of liabilities that most managers know. Current liabilities are liabilities that are expected to be settled within 1 year. This normally includes salaries, fees, taxes, interest payments due within a year, and expenses for purchases. Long-term liabilities, on the other hand, are liabilities that are not expected to be settled within 1 year. Long-term liabilities include long-term bonds, long-term debt, leases, pension obligations, and warranties and guarantees. So, are assets and liabilities opposites then, as many people think? Well, in some way, yes. In some other ways, the ideas are different. This leads us to some other really exciting concepts, such as depreciation and amortization. The simple rule is that tangible assets depreciate, intangible assets amortize, and liabilities don't diminish in value at all. I could torture you with definitions of these terms as well, or talk about the accounting equation which brings together the ideas of assets and liabilities, but I think we better leave that for another video. You'll find links to the references used in this video in the description. Anyway, I hope I've cleared up some confusion about what assets and liabilities are. If you agree or disagree with any of this, please leave a comment. And as always, thank you for watching.